All right, so get ready, because today we're going deep into the Dust Bowl with John Steinbeck's The Grapes of Wrath.
Oh, yeah.
And, you've sent over some really incredible excerpts, and we're going to dig into them.
Yeah.
We're going to look at the social and environmental world that Steinbeck created back in the 1930s.
You know what's so fascinating about The Grapes of Wrath is that Steinbeck goes way beyond telling a story. He's really capturing a specific moment in American history.
Yeah.
And he forces us to confront these uncomfortable truths about poverty, displacement, and exploitation.
Right.
And it's unsettling because these issues are still with us today.
Yeah, and talk about making a statement.
Yeah.
This book was incredibly controversial when it came out.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, politicians, religious leaders, academics
Yeah.
that were calling it communist propaganda and straight-up lies.
And that reaction really just shows how powerful of a social commentary the book is.
Yeah.
Steinbeck was shining a light on this broken system that was failing so many people, and the people in power, they didn't want that exposed.
It's wild to think about how intense the backlash was.
Yeah.
There's a quote from this Oklahoma congressman, Lyle Boren, and he called the book a lie, a black infernal creation of a twisted, distorted mind.
Wow. I mean, talk about harsh.
Yeah, you can just imagine being Steinbeck and getting hit with that kind of criticism.
Yeah.
But despite all those attempts to discredit the book, it really resonated with a lot of people. And it forced the plight of migrant workers into the national conversation.
Yeah. And speaking of resonating, one thing that always gets me are Steinbeck's descriptions of the Dust Bowl. They're so vivid, you can practically feel the dust between your teeth.
Oh, absolutely.
When you're reading his words.
He doesn't just tell you it's dusty.
Right.
You feel it.
Yeah.
The red sun and the darkened sky.
Yeah.
The dust coating absolutely everything. You can almost feel that desperation and suffocation.
Yeah. And he uses such powerful imagery.
Like when he says, the dust is an emulsion of dust and air. It's not just settling. It's like part of the air itself.
And that image gets to the heart of what the Dust Bowl was.
Right.
It was devastating ecologically, and it was devastating for the people living in it.
It's like he drops you right into that world.
Yeah.
And then he introduces these characters who feel so real. Even the ones you only meet briefly.
Yeah.
Like that truck driver who picks up Tom Joad at the beginning.
Right, at the very beginning.
Even in that short interaction, there's just this sharp social commentary.
Oh, absolutely. You get a sense of the truck driver's potential for cruelty.
Yeah.
Just from how Steinbeck describes him. He's chewing gum, he's squinting from years on the road.
Totally. You can just picture him.
Right.
And then boom, he figures out that Tom is an ex-con.
Yeah.
Just by smelling a question.
It's like he can sense it.
It's such a powerful moment.
Yeah.
Because it just shows how prejudice is so ingrained in society. Like, the truck driver instantly labels Tom based on his past. And that highlights all of the challenges that ex-convicts face when they're trying to reintegrate into a world that already views them as guilty.
Right. They can't escape their past.
There's this one image that's always stuck with me. It's the turtle struggling to cross the road with that wild oat head clinging to it. It seems so simple, but it feels like there's something more there.
It's definitely more than just a turtle crossing the road.
Right.
It's burdened, but it's persistent.
Yeah.
And it embodies that migrant spirit. It's this reminder that even when progress is slow and the weight feels crushing, we still have this instinct to keep pushing forward to survive.
Right.
And that's deeply human.
It makes you think about how that image connects to what the Joads and all the other migrants are going through.
Exactly. And that theme of resilience, of finding strength when things are impossible, it's woven throughout the whole book.
We see it in Jim Casey.
Yeah.
That ex-preacher who's struggling with his faith.
He's such a complex character.
Even just his looks.
Yeah.
Those intense eyes, the furrowed brow.
Yeah.
You can just tell he's wrestling with these huge questions.
Oh, yeah.
About faith and humanity.
Yeah, he's definitely wrestling with those questions.
Yeah?
He's questioning traditional religion and looking for a new kind of spirituality.
Right.
Something that speaks to all the suffering he sees.
Yeah. And, a lot of migrants were going through similar crises.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Losing their homes, their communities, their whole way of life.
Their whole way of life.
It was just this huge upheaval.
Yeah, they had to start over.
There's this one line from Casey that always gets me.
Yeah.
He says, a fella can get hiso, so he misses the noise of a sawmill.
It's like he misses having a purpose.
Right.
Even though that life was really hard,
Right.
It gave him something to do. It gave him a place to belong.
And it's within this backdrop of loss and uncertainty.
Yeah.
That the Joads pack up their truck and head for California.
Yeah.
I love that scene.
Yeah.
The blinding sun, the flash of the hammer as they're fixing the truck.
Yeah.
Those red chickens flaming with reflected light.
Yeah.
You can just feel that mix of hope and apprehension. The sense that they're stepping into the unknown.
It sets the stage for their journey.
Yeah.
And Steinbeck right away introduces you to the family dynamics.
Yes.
You've got Grandpa being mischievous.
Uh-huh.
You've got Al with all that youthful energy.
Yeah.
And you've got serious Tom.
Right.
And the steady strength of Ma Joad.
Ma Joad is amazing.
Oh, she's incredible.
She's like the rock of the family.
Yeah.
Holding everything together when they're facing just unbelievable hardship.
Yeah, she's the backbone.
And as they're traveling, Steinbeck doesn't shy away from showing us the brutal reality of what's happening.
Right.
Like, remember that tenant farmer they meet who's being forced to evict other families?
Yeah.
For practically nothing.
It's hard.
It just shows how even within the migrant community,
Yeah.
there's this system of exploitation
Right.
that forces people to hurt each other
Yeah.
just to survive.
Just to get by.
And then there's Muley Graves, who refuses to leave his land.
Even though it's been taken from him.
Yeah, he's been driven crazy by losing his home.
You can feel that loss so deeply.
As like his whole sense of self is tied to that land.
It's all he knows.
And losing it just breaks him.
Yeah, you can really feel the psychological toll of displacement.
And it makes you think about how vulnerable the migrants are
Oh, yeah.
when they reach California.
Yeah.
Especially when they run into those used car salesmen.
Oh, man, that scene is infuriating.
Those salesmen are just preying on their desperation.
Yeah, they're using every trick in the book.
The today's bargain.
Which is never for sale.
Right. Sawdust to hide all the mechanical problems.
It's a masterclass in how to exploit people.
Who are already at their breaking point.
Yeah, they know these people are desperate.
You can really see how Steinbeck is using that scene to criticize the entire capitalist system.
Oh, absolutely.
How the need for profit just overshadows basic human decency.
Yeah, profit over people.
It really makes you think about all the ways that same pattern of exploitation is happening today.
Yeah.
Predatory lending scams.
Yeah.
Targeting vulnerable people.
It feels like nothing's changed.
Like some things never change.
Yeah. Sad.
But even with all of that hardship,
Yeah.
there are these glimmers of hope
Yeah.
and compassion in The Grapes of Wrath.
Absolutely.
Like how the Joads connect with the other families.
Yeah.
And they share what little they have.
It's that human connection.
Right. It's like even in the worst circumstances,
Yeah.
people still find ways to support each other.
Right.
Even in small ways.
It doesn't take much.
It really shows the power of community and how it can help people to endure the most difficult situations.
Exactly like when Ma cooks for the Wilsons.
Right.
Or when Sari Wilson helps to care for Grandpa.
Those acts of kindness really stand out.
They do.
They show the resilience of the human spirit,
Yeah.
the desire to help others,
Yeah.
even when you're struggling yourself,
It's inspiring.
and even when they're facing death, like when Grandpa points us away.
Yeah.
You see that beauty and dignity
Yeah.
in how the family comes together to grieve and support each other.
They take care of each other.
I love that scene at the diner
Yeah.
with me, the waitress,
Yeah.
who gives the struggling family a discount
Yeah.
on a loaf of bread.
It's such a small gesture.
Right, but it's so meaningful.
Yeah, it really is.
It interrupts that cycle of exploitation that we've been seeing
Yeah.
and reminds us that compassion can exist even in the most unexpected places.
Even in a diner.
But then, as the Joads settle into the Hoovervilles in California,
Yeah.
they encounter a whole new set of problems.
A whole new set of problems.
With the locals.
Yeah, it's complicated.
Right.
You have all these desperate migrants showing up, and it creates fear and prejudice.
Among the people who are already there.
Yeah, they see the migrants as a threat.
It's like when Tom gets called an Okie
Uh-huh.
and he's met with hostility.
Yeah, just for being an outsider.
Except for being an outsider.
This fear of outsiders taking jobs,
Yeah.
that's something called nativism. And it's a pattern that we see over and over in history,
Right.
especially when times are tough.
It's that us versus them mentality
Yeah.
that just dehumanizes people.
Right.
And justifies all kinds of mistreatment.
And Steinbeck really gets into the roots of this problem.
Okay.
That character who explains that California was stole a long time ago by wealthy landowners.
It's like he's saying the whole system is rigged
Yeah.
to benefit a few.
At the expense of everyone else.
At the expense of everyone else. And then things escalate.
Uh-huh.
When the family finds out about the planned attack
On the migrant camp.
on the migrant camp.
It's chilling.
It's really chilling.
Steinbeck shows how the authorities use violence to control the migrants,
Right.
to stop them from organizing,
Right.
to stop them from demanding better treatment.
It makes you realize how easily things can get out of control.
Yeah.
When people's basic needs are denied.
Yeah, it's a warning.
It's like a warning sign.
About what happens when you ignore inequality.
But even with all the darkness,
Yeah.
the grapes of wrath has these moments of joy and resilience that shine through, like the dance scene in the government camp.
Oh, yeah.
It's like this breath of fresh air.
Yeah.
You know, the families come together.
You're celebrating.
To celebrate.
Connect.
To connect. To just find some normalcy in all the chaos.
And that scene is so important.
Yeah.
Because it shows that even when things are hard,
Right.
people don't lose their desire for joy.
Or connection.
Yeah, exactly.
And even Tom and Jewel, who are both outsiders.
Yeah, in their own way.
In their own ways, find common ground in that scene.
They do.
And it's like this reminder
Yeah.
that even when things are tough, there's still beauty
Yeah.
and humanity to be found.
Absolutely. And the music?
And the dancing?
Yeah.
It's like their refusal to be
It's
defeated.
a celebration of life.
Yeah.
It's a celebration of community.
It's this powerful affirmation that the human spirit can endure even the darkest times.
The human spirit is strong.
It's a good reminder that even when things seem really bleak, there's still hope to be found.
There's always hope.
Yeah.
But, Steinbeck doesn't let us forget the reality
Right.
of what the migrants are going through.
Yeah.
And one of the biggest contradictions is California's abundance, all that food,
Right.
while the migrants are starving.
It's crazy.
It is.
He describes all that fruit ripening, those little globes of gold and red. And it's such a contrast to their hunger and poverty.
It's almost cruel.
It is. It's so much food, and people are starving.
It shows how disconnected the natural world is
Right.
from our economic systems.
Right. Yeah.
It's all about profit.
And not about human needs.
Exactly. And that leads to all this destruction and unnecessary suffering.
It's so frustrating when he's describing, the peaches rotting on the ground, grapes being destroyed because they can't be sold for a profit.
All that food wasted.
Wasted while people are starving.
It's such a powerful image.
Right.
Steinbeck's critiquing the system,
Yeah.
showing that profit comes first.
And not human needs.
And it's leading to suffering.
It makes you think about how relevant that critique is today.
Oh, yeah.
With climate change.
Yeah.
And the unequal distribution of resources.
Yeah, we're still trying to figure this out.
We are. We're still grappling with, how to create systems that value human well-being.
And that work with the environment.
And the environment.
Instead of against it.
Steinbeck was ahead of his time.
Yeah, he really was.
And speaking of nature's power, we can't forget about the flood. That's like the ultimate test for the Joads.
It really is.
It wipes away any illusion that they're going to find paradise in California.
That California dream is shattered.
That flood scene is intense.
Oh, yeah.
The rain, the rising water.
Yeah.
The family trying to escape.
Just grabbing what they can.
Yeah, it feels almost biblical.
And then, of course, Rosa Sharon goes into labor.
Right in the middle of it.
In the middle of all that chaos.
It adds this whole other layer of vulnerability.
Yeah.
It's like this reminder of how fragile life is.
When you're up against something that big.
Yeah, when you're up against forces like that.
Yeah, nature is powerful.
She's carrying this new life.
Yeah.
While battling for her own survival.
Yeah.
In this raging flood.
It's a powerful image.
It really is.
It's life and death.
Right.
Hope and despair.
Yeah.
All at the same time.
Yeah. And you see this idea of cleansing and renewal.
Yeah, like a baptism.
Yeah, baptism by floodwater.
A fresh start.
Yeah, a fresh start maybe. It feels like Steinbeck is setting us up for some major changes.
Yeah.
For the Joads and for the world.
Yeah, big changes.
Yeah.
And after the flood, we see Tom Joad really change, at that fight that he gets involved in.
Right.
His choice to leave the family to protect them.
Yeah.
He steps into a new role.
Yeah.
He's not just worried about his own survival anymore.
Right.
He sees the bigger picture. The systemic injustice that's causing all the suffering.
It's so heartbreaking to see him go.
It is.
Especially for Ma.
Yeah, you feel for her.
But her strength is incredible.
Oh, she's amazing.
Her determination to keep the family going, even with this loss.
Yeah.
It's just, wow.
She embodies that migrant spirit, that refusal to give up, that hope for a better life, no matter what.
And that moment when she gives Tom her secret stash of money.
It gets me every time.
It's just...
pure love.
It's pure love and sacrifice.
Yeah, she knows he needs it more than she does.
And she doesn't even hesitate.
No.
And his parting words, I'll be wherever you look, wherever there's a fight so hungry people can eat, I'll be there.
Wow.
It's like he's taking Casey's message and turning it into this rallying cry.
A call to action.
Yeah, for the oppressed.
He's committing to fight injustice wherever he finds it.
And it leaves us with this question.
A big one.
Yeah, what does it mean to be there in that fight?
What does that look like?
What does that look like in our lives?
Yeah.
How do we make a difference?
Right. It's a challenge.
It's a challenge that Steinbeck throws down to us.
Yeah.
To look at the world.
To see the injustice.
And find ways to make things better.
Yeah. You know, it's interesting how Steinbeck uses nature in The Grapes of Wrath. It's not just a background.
Right.
It's this powerful force shaping their lives. Like those chapters about California's abundance.
Oh, you mean where he's describing all that fruit ripening? Those little globes of gold and red practically bursting. It's this vivid image of plenty of the earth providing.
Exactly. And that abundance is right there alongside the reality of the migrants starving.
Right. And they can't have any of it.
They can't access it.
It's cruel.
It is.
All this food.
Yeah.
And people are starving.
It really shows that disconnect between nature and the economic systems that control who gets what.
It's like Steinbeck at his most critical of capitalism.
Yeah.
You know, he's pointing out how profit drives everything, leading to this waste and scarcity.
Even when nature is offering so much.
It's so frustrating.
It is.
When he describes those peaches rotting on the ground, or, you know, grapes being destroyed.
Because they can't be sold.
Because they can't be sold.
That's all about profit.
It's powerful.
It is.
Those scenes.
They make you think
Yeah.
about how our systems are messing up our relationship with nature.
Profit over people. It's so relevant today.
Oh, yeah.
Think about climate change. You know how unequally resources are distributed.
We still haven't figured it out.
We haven't. We're still trying to figure out how to build systems that value people and work with the environment.
Right, instead of up against it.
Steinbeck was way ahead of his time.
He really was.
And speaking of nature's power, the flood.
Oh, yeah.
That's the ultimate test for the Joads.
That's where the California dream gets shattered.
It's brutal.
Oh, yeah.
That flood scene.
The rain.
Relentless rain. The water rising.
Yeah.
The family desperately trying to escape.
It's just grabbing what they can.
It's apocalyptic.
And then Rose of Sharon goes into labor.
Right in the middle of it all.
In the middle of it.
It's like this extra layer of vulnerability.
Yeah.
This reminder of how fragile life is.
When you're up against forces that big.
When you're up against a force like that.
Yeah, nature.
She's carrying new life.
Yeah.
But she's fighting for her own survival.
You know, in this raging flood.
It's an incredible image.
It's an incredible image.
Life and death.
Yeah.
Hope and despair.
Yeah.
All at once.
And there's that idea of cleansing and renewal.
Like a baptism.
Like a baptism by floodwater.
A fresh start.
Yeah, a fresh start.
Maybe
it feels like Steinbeck is setting us up for some big changes.
Big changes.
Yeah, for the Joads and for the world.
And after the flood, we see Tom really change.
Yeah.
You know, he gets in that fight.
Right.
And then decides to leave to protect them. It's like a new role. He's not just focused on himself anymore.
Right. He sees that bigger picture, the injustice behind it all.
It's hard to see him go.
It is.
Especially for Ma.
But her strength.
She's incredible.
It's incredible, her determination.
To keep going.
To keep her family together.
Yeah.
With this huge loss.
Yeah. That migrant spirit. You know, never giving up.
Right.
Hoping for better. No matter what.
Yeah.
And when she gives him her money.
That hidden stash.
Whoa, it gets me every time.
It's so powerful.
Pure love.
Pure love and sacrifice.
She knows he needs it more.
She doesn't hesitate.
And his parting words.
I'll be wherever you look. Wherever there's a fight so hungry people can eat, I'll be there.
It's like he's taking Casey's message to the next level.
Yeah, it's a call to arms.
Yeah, for anyone who's ever been hungry.
Or oppressed.
He's saying he'll fight injustice.
Wherever he finds it.
It throws it back to us.
It does.
What does it mean to be there in the fight?
How do we live that out?
How do we live it out?
In our own lives.
It's a challenge.
It is.
Steinbeck's challenging us.
To look around.
To see the injustice.
Yeah.
And do something.
Now that ending, Rose of Sharon in the barn.
Oh my gosh.
People have debated it for years.
Such a powerful image.
Yeah.
You know, after losing her baby.
Uh-huh.
She nurses this starving man.
It's hard to know what to make of it.
I know, is it hopeful?
Is it devastating?
Is it both?
Some see it as hope.
Yeah.
This image of compassion.
Yeah.
Even in the darkest moments.
Like she's been through so much.
Yeah.
But she still reaches out.
Help.
It's this ultimate act of empathy and generosity.
But it also raises some questions.
Yeah.
Some people find it disturbing how desperate things have become.
It makes you think about how far can compassion go?
Yeah.
Is it really selfless?
Or is it just survival?
It blurs the lines.
And that's what's so brilliant about the ending.
Yeah.
It's not neat and tidy. He leaves us with this image that's both beautiful
and unsettling.
Yeah.
And it forces us to think
about how complex humans are, even in hopeful moments. There's still so much suffering. There's still injustice.
It's like a reminder.
The fight isn't over.
Yeah.
Just because the book is...
And that's what makes it so powerful.
It sticks with you.
It does.
It makes you look at the world differently, more critically.
Yeah. What can I do to make things better?
That's the question.
It is a great question. What can we do?
I mean, it's just a book.
It feels bigger.
It does. It connects to something deeper.
About being human.
Yeah.
Especially when you think about when Steinbeck was writing.
Yeah.
The Great Depression.
Yeah.
Massive upheaval.
Unemployment, poverty, unrest.
He wasn't just telling a story.
No, he was holding up a mirror.
To a broken society.
To a system that was breaking down.
And his critique of capitalism.
Yeah.
You know how he shows the migrants being exploited?
The way power and wealth are concentrated.
It must have been threatening.
To some people.
To the people in power.
Yeah, the people who benefited.
From the way things were.
It was controversial for a reason.
It's incredible that a book can do that.
Yeah.
Make you think about the power of stories.
How art can challenge things.
Yeah, and inspire change.
Literature is social commentary.
It can raise awareness.
It gets people talking.
And spark action.
So what are the big takeaways?
Yeah, after spending all this time with the Grapes of Wrath.
What can we apply to our own lives?
What can we learn from the Joads?
I think one of the biggest is empathy and solidarity. Steinbeck shows us how people can support each other, even in the worst situations.
Like how the Joads connect.
With the other families.
Sharing food stories, struggles.
It's recognizing our shared humanity.
It's not just feeling sorry for people.
No, it's deeper than that.
Yeah, it's about realizing we're all connected, that my well-being
is tied to yours. We're not alone.
We have a responsibility to each other.
Yeah.
To fight for a world.
Where everyone has a chance. To thrive.
And we can't forget about resilience.
Oh, yeah.
The Joads.
They face so much.
They just keep getting back up.
Yeah.
After every setback.
They never give up.
They keep adapting.
No, Joad's the best example. Her strength, her determination.
To keep her family together.
Yeah, to keep moving forward.
She's amazing.
She reminds us. We all have that strength. Even when it feels hopeless.
Yeah.
We can find a way.
And then there's that call to action.
Running through the whole book.
Be there.
Yeah, in the fight for justice.
He's asking us.
How will you show up?
How will you show up?
How will you fight for better?
It's still so relevant.
Oh, yeah.
Today.
It's a reminder.
We all have a role to play.
To make the world a better place.
A more just and compassionate world.
Exactly. And that's what social justice is all about.
Yeah, it's like he's saying, okay, you've seen what's wrong now. What do you do about it?
Right. It's not enough to just read it and feel sad.
Yeah, you got to actually do something.
And, we have to remember Steinbeck wasn't writing in a vacuum.
Right.
This was the Great Depression.
Yeah.
Economic hardship, social unrest.
A whole different world.
It really was.
And the book's message about social justice and inequality, it really hit a nerve back then.
Oh, yeah, especially for those who benefited.
Right, the people in power.
Yeah, they saw it as a threat.
The Grapes of Wrath was controversial.
Yeah, it was because Steinbeck was exposing the system.
Right, he was giving a voice to the people the system was crushing.
Exactly.
It's amazing to think a book could do that.
I know, it's incredible.
It shows you the power of stories.
Yeah.
How art can challenge things and make people think differently.
Art can change the world.
So as we're wrapping up our deep dive.
Yeah.
Into the Grapes of Wrath. What are some of the key things we can take away?
Yeah. What can we learn from the Joads and their journey?
What can we learn from them?
Well, for me, one of the biggest things is empathy and solidarity. Steinbeck shows us how people come together.
Right, even when they have almost nothing.
They support each other.
Like when the Joads connect with the other families.
Right, sharing their food.
Sharing their stories, their struggles.
It's about recognizing that we're all human.
Right, it's not about feeling sorry for someone.
No, it's much deeper.
Yeah, realizing that we're connected.
Yeah.
that your well-being is connected to mine.
Exactly. We're not alone.
And we have a responsibility to each other to fight for a world where everyone has a chance.
Where everyone has a chance to thrive.
And we can't forget about resilience.
Oh, the Joads, yeah.
They face so much loss.
So many setbacks.
But they never give up.
They adapt.
They keep going.
Mad Joad. She just embodies that.
She's incredible. Her strength.
Her determination.
It's a reminder that we all have that in us.
We do.
Even when it feels impossible.
There's a way to keep going.
And then there's that call to action.
Running through the book.
Yeah, be there.
Be there in the fight for justice.
Steinbeck's asking us, what can I do?
Yeah, how can you make a difference?
How can I be that force for change?
That's a question that stays with you.
It does, long after you finish the book.
The Grapes of Wrath, it's not just a story.
It's a call to action. It's that reminder that we have to make the world a better place.
A more just world.
A more compassionate world.
I think that's a great place to end.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
We hope you learned something new.
And maybe you even feel inspired to take action.
And remember, like Tom Joad said, wherever there's a fight so hungry people can eat, I'll be there.
Let's all be there.
Let's all be there.